60 people have already died since then, and we've only just now had the chair announced. They've just messed us around, and they keep putting consultations in that, what do we want? You know, we've had 30 years of telling them what we want. We know what happened. We don't need to be told what happened. It's how it was allowed to happen, why it continued to happen, and then also the important thing is how we, the victims and families, have been treated since this scandal hit the news. We've got little boys that died of 7 years old with cirrhosis of the liver, and the doctors blamed alcohol.
It's really a tale of two health systems, or a tale of two governments. The British government have less victims to this than Australia. They have 3 times our population. However, we've got more victims than they do.
Here in Australia, there was this willingness to treat people with contempt, treat people as second class, and almost like, because you've been born with a disability, oh well, you can be used, you don't really matter because you're not going to fulfil anything in society.
There's silence, and we're still waiting 14 years later for the very apology that the Senate unanimously agreed that victims should have.
Use them. In the UK, a health minister actually said that the cost of chimpanzees were very expensive. Haemophiliacs are cheaper.
You have the British, who after a long and protracted fight by campaigners have this warts and all inquiry, and you have Australia, which had more victims to contaminated blood, and you have a health minister that doesn't even answer questions anymore about it. And in fact, if I ever write a letter to him, he won't reply. Instead, I'll hear back from an underling who says the case is closed.
So when you've been referred to as being cheaper than a chimpanzee, that didn't just stay in the UK, that went around the world. In Canada, during their inquiry, because they had the Royal Canadian Mounted Police got involved, they discovered that they were actually draining the blood from dead bodies, putting it through the fractionation process to give to haemophiliacs. Down here in Australia, knowingly, they would take the blood from donors who, again, just like in America, prostitutes, drug addicts, undesirable people that, when you think about what this blood is for, the worst place you could get it from, they got it. And they used it because, okay, it might not go to a senator, it might not go to a judge, but if it went to haemophiliacs, it goes through a process, well, and haemophiliacs cost money. So if you can kill them, you're saving yourself money, but guess what? You're actually making millions and millions of dollars as you're doing it because the profits.
Really, what this is about now is about the rule of law. If it is the case, as I know it is, that crimes are being committed against Australian patients, against women who receive blood products given during childbirth, against children with the blood disorder haemophilia, knowingly being given blood products that authorities knew in all likelihood to be contaminated, that's a crime if they didn't warn them. That's a crime if they didn't tell their parents. And it's a crime if they decided that the cost of using available tests and techniques to make these products safer, they didn't want to go ahead of that because of cost, but they didn't warn anybody. And so children lost their lives, women lost their families, a terrible, terrible business. And really if there is an outcome now, what it has to be is that the rule of law looks upon this, that this goes to a courtroom, this goes before a judge.
Every other country that's looked at this has found out that, yeah, it was the same product, you're making it by the same method, it's the same in Australia as in all the other countries. Crimes have been committed, whether you think that they are actually criminal, moral, ethical, human rights breaches, they're all rolled into one because knowingly these people were harmed and purely for profit.